What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I want to break down what the news is saying about the overall market, what the news is saying about Tesla. It's very important, what you should be watching for as we progress over the next couple of days, and for today specifically. But before I break anything down about all this information, before I talk about what's going on with all these different tickers, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm firstly not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends in just 2 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the overall market. So I've been very busy over the last few days, guys. On Friday, I had to just cut my videos very short because I was so busy packing. On Saturday, I had to move to a new place, and that took quite a bit of time and lots of work. And instead of just like recording my videos in a room that's just full of boxes and it's not even set up, I decided it made more sense for me to just set everything up in just one day, so I could just start recording, in a very fresh room where everything's organized, everything is just restarted. So I decided I'm going to start right now, going back to my normal schedule. I was very busy for the last few days, but that's all out of the way. And now I'm just here for you guys, and we're going to continue to make these videos. So what's going on with the market? The answer is in hindsight, I would say that the market looks like it's getting ready for some kind of bounce, but we're not ready yet. We're in the process of getting ready, and we're still looking bearish right now. It looks like we could see more downside for the markets. The market could sink a little bit more before we see an attempt to bounce. Tesla's also looking kind of weak, so there could be more downside coming before this thing really gets ready to bounce, either intraday or by tomorrow, most likely. So I'm going to break down exactly why that is, what the news is saying, and some other important things to know. So September historically tends to be a bearish month, and we're seeing the market just continuing to slide for this month, which is completely normal, nothing out of the ordinary. Now, historically, the market does tend to drop a lot, and we're entering the same cycle, so it doesn't really make that big of a difference. Looking at some other news that came out, Congress has entered the week with no clear plan towards passing a spending bill just yet by the Saturday deadline. So there is a risk of a potential government shutdown. Some people are talking about that, a prolonged one. This could lead to many, many disruptions in the economy, from the benefits of workers to slower economic growth. So that's very important and worth noting. But we'll see what happens as we approach Saturday. For now, AI is once again making lots and lots of headlines as Amazon is betting with a major wager on a development of AI by investing about over $4 billion into an AI company, which is going to likely rival ChatGPT and OpenAI. So that's very interesting. And finally, credit card companies, their losses are on the rise. We've actually seen another increase of 1.5 percentage points from a bottom in September of 2021, and the current losses, they jumped from that. Basically, they're continuing to go up, so that's very important to note. Now I just wanted to mention that for Monday, which is today, 1 hour after the market opens, we have the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index. That's going to be very important as well, so make sure you guys are ready for that. Could cause some volatility in the markets here and there. Maybe the market shifts a little bit. We also have one Fed speaker after the market closes. That's going to be Kashkari, so maybe he says some things that could affect the markets during the after hours. Besides that, we also have SPY's option chain right over here. Max Payne's 435. I don't expect us to close all the way up there, but I could see some changes because of this. There is potential for a bounce if we're ready, just like for now, but we'll have to wait and see for the time being. Anyways, going back, when it comes to Tesla, there's this news that came out that Tesla released a video about the Optimus bot, but it looks like CGI. I mean, regardless of whether it's CGI or not, excuse me, there's still a lot of potential for this. I'm very excited for Optimus, and I think that they're going to continue to develop this as time goes on. But I think there was a video of it doing yoga. I saw this somewhere. It looks pretty cool. I just think that it's making a lot of progress. Will I call this CGI? Not necessarily. I don't want to make any promises, but it is capable of doing some cool things. And I believe that one day it's definitely going to be capable of doing so much more, assisting with dangerous tasks and things like that. Could this affect workers in a negative way? It most definitely can, but at the same time, for Tesla as a company, this is going to be bullish nonetheless. So it is what it is, guys, right? This is the future. It's inevitable. There are these details coming out. Uh, their claims saying that it looks like CGI. I'm not too sure about that, but if anything, I think this is just very cool anyways. Anyways, going back, there's been some news about Tesla's offering steep price cuts on the Model 3 ahead of its new model, and that could be very important to bring back demand. This is what's going to be very important. They're offering discounts as much as $2,500 to $3,000, and other ones have been for more than $4,000 for the Model 3. So uh, different types of models of them and different ranges are what are going to be affecting these cuts. And with this going on, it's not great news because Tesla's margins are just continuing to get tighter and tighter and tighter as the share price is looking weak still. So I'm going to break this down in more details from this point on. And with that said, guys, I just wanted to mention that Tesla's still looking very weak. Okay, we technically have not much of a divergence that has developed. I think on the 4 hour we have a bullish divergence that could be trying to form like in a much smaller time frame, so like right about here, but it's very, very minor. I'm not really counting on it bouncing yet. It looks very weak to me. It looks like there could be more downside. On the 30 minutes time frame, Tesla's also looking kind of weak right here. You guys can see this is just hitting this 240 support, but just barely holding on for dear life. There is technically a bullish divergence, but it's very minor. It's very, very minor. It doesn't look too convincing yet for Tesla to bounce. So we're going to be watching 240 as key support, and below 240, okay, below this, we have this imbalance down here. You guys can see that there's this imbalance all the way down here on this 238 area. If that fails us, then we have like 235, which is where we had some buyers stepping in right here. And if that fails us, just 232, 230, then 227 as some key supports. Now, from a technical standpoint, we're looking very weak right now. I believe Tesla could either try to hold 240. If it fails, we're going to be watching this to come all the way down to potentially 235 or very close to that level. And below that, I mean, 230 is technically possible if we do break below that. So it looks bearish. It looks like it's going to continue sinking. But I do believe Tesla is going to bounce with the market soon because it's very oversold. And we do technically have an attempted bullish divergence that's trying to develop on the MACD. So I believe that Tesla, if it doesn't bottom at 240, we're going to be hitting those lower levels as we're still looking weak. And then we're going to be watching for a bounce soon. So could it drop lower? Yes, it can. Watch those supports I called out very carefully from 238 to 235. Watch and see how it reacts to them, and then it's going to likely bounce soon. So yes, there could be more downside, but a bounce should be coming either intraday today or by tomorrow, most likely. On SPY, we have a better looking setup because we have a bullish divergence on the 4 hour time frame and also on the 30 minutes time frame. Both of them have these bullish divergences. This is the 4 hour right here. We were starting to curl a bit on the MACD as we're losing some bearish momentum, and this thing is starting to base a lot better, but it's still looking kind of weak, so it's not ready to truly bounce yet. So we're going to be watching. Basically, I think we're just barely below this 429 support. We have some support around 429, but it's kind of tight right now. If we end up breaking below where we currently are, we're going to be watching 427 and 425 as key supports. I could see SPY either breaking a little bit lower towards 427, maybe even 425 possibly, because this is still looking kind of weak. But then I do anticipate a bounce to come soon as we have a bullish divergence and the market isn't very, very oversold. It's due for some kind of bounce soon. So I'm thinking we could drop a little bit more. Yes, we can. We could go towards 425, 427 before we get some kind of bounce on SPY. As long as this bullish divergence remains, that's going to be a decent sign. And I think that a bounce is likely going to come as we start to see shorts cover, leading to some kind of like short squeeze. For Aapl, something that could help the markets is Aapl, because Aapl is very stationary, going back and forth between 174 to 176 for the majority of the day. If we manage to hold above the 50 EMA at 175, we could see 176. If we break above that, 177 to 177.5 are possible, and Aapl could see some upside. On the 4 hour time frame, on the 4 hour, Apple's looking a little bit more bullish. It looks like it could get a bullish crossover right here, but I'm not counting on it to break out. I just think it's going to remain in its range for the majority of the time between 176 and 174, go back and forth and back and forth. If it breaks below 173.5, then this could turn more bearish because of the supports right over here, because we have this head and shoulders setup. If 173.5 breaks on Aapl, this thing could start sinking a lot lower. But as of right now, it looks more stationary, and this could help the market hold up just temporarily and not like sink as hard, at least for the time being. So I'm going to be watching Aapl. If Aapl does break 173.5, then yes, it could start breaking out to the downside. We could see 171. But as of right now, like I said, it looks kind of stationary. Anyways, for the QQQ, there's a bullish divergence on the 4 hour time frame and also on the 30 minutes time frame. This is important because I believe the QQQ is going to make an attempt to try to base around 357, but that's going to likely fail. I could see this thing coming down to about 354 or so, dropping a little bit more since this support failed us. So it could get very close to 354 before it makes an attempt to bounce. Could it go a little bit lower depending on Tesla? It could. If that fails us, because that's historical support on the QQQ at 354 level. You guys can see it right here, 354. If that fails us, we could be watching 352.5 as the next level, but I think 354 is going to be a key level to watch for. We'll see if buyers step in, and we could get some kind of bounce off that level later on. So I could see the QQQ dropping a little bit more thanks to maybe Apple possibly, and also like the Teslas and the Nvidias out there, and then it could bounce later on. Watch for the bounce around that support. 354 is going to be key. For Nvidia, this looks bullish on the much longer time frame, on the much bigger time frames. I think Nvidia is still looking fine. I think it's going to continue to break out as we approach the month of November. But for the short term, as we're approaching October, it's still looking kind of weak right now. For the super short term, we're looking a little bit more bearish as we're continuing to break down. We have this gap down here, which I think NVIDIA is going to fill towards this 410 area. And then we're going to be watching 407 and then 405 if those end up holding this thing up, if we're going to be establishing this divergence. And for now, I would say that, this is still looking a little weak. We're going to be watching this fill the gap down here potentially. It could come very close to doing so. So watch very carefully around this 410 area, if not 407, and then watch for a potential bounce after that. It's still looking kind of weak right now, so we're going to be watching to see if we could hold this. If 407 breaks, watch 403, then 400. Those are going to be some very, very key supports. As of right now, it looks more bearish, but I do believe it's going to try to bounce later on. So just be very patient with this. Microsoft also has a bullish divergence, so watch 312, 314 as supports and see try to bounce off those. This could bounce soon, but for now, just watch and see how it goes. For the VIX, this is still going up, but here's the problem. The VIX is continuing to break these highs, but we have a bearish divergence developing on the VIX. The dollar also has a bearish, not the dollar, sorry, the 4-hour time frame also has a bearish divergence. The VIX could shoot up higher because the market could drop more. I believe the market could drop more, but then the VIX is eventually going to reject and start cooling off because on the daily, we're still very close to where this 200 EMA happens to be, and we rejected off here historically. So we might reject a little bit on the VIX soon. Could we pop a little bit more? Yes, because the market may sink a little bit, but then this thing might reject somewhere in the 18s, maybe get a little close to 19, then reject. So I'm going to be watching for rejection on the VIX soon, which could help the markets, that could be because of the markets potentially bouncing a bit soon. And that's basically telling us the same thing. So watch the market potentially drop more before bouncing. That could also be the same thing with Tesla. The dollar is continuing to break out, not really looking too weak just yet on the daily. On the 4-hour, it's still, it's kind of gapping up. So if it does start sinking a bit, that could be like a little bit more bullish for the markets. But we're just going to be watching it just to see how it goes. Anyways, guys, just to be honest with you all, Tesla looks very weak. It's continuing to slow down. We're barely at 240. If that fails us, we're going to be watching this come down to like towards that 238, then 235 area. Then below that, 230 is a real possibility. But I do believe it's going to bounce soon. So watch those supports, see where we get ready to bounce. And I believe it's going to take, it may take a kind of some time to get that bounce, but it's going to happen soon. So it could take a couple of days, could take another day or so. So just be patient and do what you have to do. Watch your supports, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you all so much. Have a good one, guys, and I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you again, and peace out.